So today I'm working more on my stock market model. We have this script which has gotten all the data for us. What it's doing is it's going through all months. So we have data going from 2011 to the current date. For this, I'm going through all months from the first month of 2012 to the last month of 2025 and getting the top 1,000 stocks by volume traded. And this is what I'm going to train the model on. I'm going to try some different strategies for training. So this is the first strategy, top 1,000 volatility. Next, I'm doing a volatility filter plus Hurst exponent. Hurst exponent dictates how trend following a stock is. Hurst exponent of 1 means that it's strongly following a trend. For instance, the S&P 500, so you can reliably make buys and sells on it. Hurst exponent of 0 means that it's strongly mean reverting, which also means that you can, the model will perform well on it. But a Hurst exponent of 0.5 means that it's basically random noise, and so we don't want that could add issues for the model. So even if we're getting top 1,000 by volatility, it might be very noisy. And so to account for that, I'm going to also look at if I do volatility plus Hurst exponent, does that perform any better? And then finally, I'm going to do volatility filter for Hurst exponent filter, and then also Dickey-Fuller filter. Dickey-Fuller filter tests for stationarity. So again, Dickey-Fuller filter should go further in removing noise than the Hurst exponent filter. And so now that I've gotten this data for the universe from all months from beginning of 2012 through the end of 2025, I want to go through and train and test the model on this data. And before I can train and test the model on this data, I need to get all of the data. So, for each month, get the stocks for that universe and put it all into a data set. That's going to take quite a while to query the database for all of that. So I'm going to set up that script to run. And then once it's running, I'm going to do some research on AI. And because basically lots of people think AI is a bubble. My base intuition tells me that it's a bubble. But then again, when I hear people talk about it being bubble, they really undersell what it can do. And so, often I hear criticisms of AI. People will say, oh, AI is a bubble. And I know this because if you look at what it's used for, it's only used by students, or people only use the free version. There's no revenue models. And I think once it really gets fully integrated into businesses, it's going to be hugely powerful. And they're also discounting the fact that, the subsequent models that are going to be trained on the new NVIDIA chips, what's that called? The Blackwell, I think it's called, which those models should come online like this summer, I think. They're giving the first Blackwell chips to XAI, Elon Musk's company, and I think that should be in April. And Jensen Huang says they're giving it to XAI first because nobody builds as quickly as Elon does. And so I think it's basically a very interesting question. My intuition tells me it's overvalued, but I also disagree with a lot of the arguments on it being overvalued, and I think they're underselling it. So while the script for getting the data is running, I'm going to look into that question. So thanks for watching. If you're interested, subscribe. Let me put a comment in the chat real quick. Good evening. Thanks for watching. I work on market analysis every day. Subscribe if you'd like to follow along! Exclamation. Okay. Let me get a good song going. I woke up in a new Bugatti. Yeah. All right. Purple rag. Gonna pull it up right now. Where is the? Oh, here we go. It had to. Yeah, so this is looking at the data. Gonna pull it up right now. All right, so let's add a file. Get data from stockfinder.py. All right, so ticker data is equal to pd.read feather data / universe data dot feather. Yes. Oh, smile. Like roll tide. I can hear the birds gone. I can hear the French come. I can hear the streets come. Water got me glistening. Picture me rolling. I need better vibes. Alright, so we're just gonna do a c equals 0 first. I can hear the freaks come. I can hear the streets come. Aquafina water got me glistening. For ticker and row.stocks.values, print ticker. Gonna roll it up right now. the hat is hats under the sun. Numa, numa, yay. Numa, 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 yay. Yeah, babe. All things that change to show you how I feel. Hello, hello. When you leave, my colors fade to gray. And I'll wait. When you leave, my colors fade to gray. Numa, numa, yay. Okay, so data reader, we want to say, when do we use data reader? dr equals data reader. Better off alone. Do you think you're better off alone? Better off alone. Do you think you're better off alone? Get all data. So stock is equal to ticker. Start date. Talk to me. Talk to me. preview. Do you think you're better off alone? Better off alone. Do 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 do. Okay, so then end date is equal to basically the same thing. Function string of year dash month dash day. Okay, stock split should be true. Talk to me. 01. Okay, let's see how long this takes. dr.stock data of OHCLV. Open, high, low, close volume. To see you smiling, all I ever wanted was to make you mine. Oh yeah, there's none of those variables. Was to see you smiling, all I ever wanted was to make you mine. And all I ever wanted was you and me. Okay, let's think. I guess that'll be fine, but then we have stock data, so pandas to data frames with same columns. For you to come. Things we could do. If C2 equals 0. We're gonna say all I ever wanted was to see you smiling. All I ever wanted was to make you mine. They get all data. If C is 0. Get all data. If C is 0 and C2 is 0, if C plus C2 is 0, why is that following us around? Expected indented block. Oh yeah, duh, okay. If C1 plus C2 is equal to 0, then we want to say data is equal to dr.stock data of open, high, low, close volume. Else data is equal to I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I can fly. Need you on my side. Otherwise, add data to the data. All right, so this is just going to do it for the first row. So how long does that take? So each one of these is a query. Uh-oh, it's going slower and slower. By my side. Land ticker data 168. So let's try to get an estimate of how long this will take. This is very rough and not the correct way to do it. Don't do your code like this. Do some official way of timing stuff, but I don't really care that much. It should just be rough. Can't you feel my heart beats fast? I don't want this to last. Need you by my side. Okay, let's put this in an Excel file real quick. Okay, 1 minute, 6 seconds. Not that kind of time. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to do 9 equals 9 divided by 60 plus 1. Okay, so now if we do 2 rows, so if C is less than 2, I forgot, did we do len ticker data 168. So if it goes at this pace, it should take 3 hours. Let's see if this is linear. Okay. So, let me open up a Word document for this AI bubble analysis. All right, so what is our thesis? It is my intuition that we are in an AI bubble because of the large absent in-depth research. It is my intuition that we are in an AI bubble because of the large amounts of money thrown around. Because of the large amounts of money being thrown around. And odd, seemingly false promises. Despite this intuition, okay, so in spite of this, I also disagree with many analyses I see which assess this to be a bubble. This is going pretty slow. I think I'm going to have to find a better way to get the data. Where we might hit triple the time for 2 rows. It's because the data set, I think, is huge now, but I think there's probably a faster way to get the data. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to this. Despite this intuition, I also disagree with many analyses. The pro-bubble analyses make ridiculous assumptions. Like AI has no use other than for students, and like AI has no use other than for students, and nobody pays for AI. These assessments ignore the obviously exponential part of the S-curve we're on, Oh, I wasn't paying attention. So say this was like 4 minutes. Anyway, it's blowing up. So let's go here. I have this script which gets me stocks for training my model. I have the script called stock finder. Shawty's fire burning on a dance floor. Burning fire burning on a dance floor. I'm using this other script, get data from stockfinder.py to read the data. Reading one row takes a little over a minute, while two rows takes 4 minutes, clearly indicating an exponential trend. I may never get all data for 168 rows. For the 168 rows that I have, how can I do this efficiently? I have many functions. I have some functions in reader.py which get me variables I don't want to lose this. Okay, then let's give it the files. Like a ruin, like a birthday cake. Bane away. Oh, like fire, cool like fire. Somebody call 911. Shawty fire burning on the dance floor. Oh, whoa. Alright. These assumptions ignore the obviously exponential part of the S-curve we're in for AI. Therefore, it's desirable to do an in-depth assessment of whether we're in an AI bubble and to make some predictions to verify or invalidate the assessment. So I want to make an assessment of an AI bubble. So the problem is basically I could fall for either argument, we're in a bubble, or this is a super innovative technology. So let's look at it. And if we're in a bubble, how much of a bubble, or are we not in a bubble and we're still at the early stages? Well, we're not at early stages, but okay. So let's dictate some strategies. We can compare current suspected bubble. Hey, Xiao. Read the data from there's the data on Dolt Hub. And then I have it locally on my machine, and so Dolt Reader's going through and querying the data. and getting it. And it's nice because it gets the fundamental data and the stock price data. But I don't really need the fundamental data now. They only have fundamental data going back to 2022. So uh, let's see, what did it say? Instantiate data. Yeah, I think the querying is what's taking a long time. Group queries by month. Pull all 1,000 stocks for that month once. Use the NSQL quad. Okay, so option A, modify adult reader to accept a list. Yeah, I agree. Get batch stock data. I'll just try pasting that in. Let's see if it works. Alright, so get stock data. Listen up. In a blue house. Does this adjust for splits? In a blue Corvette. Yeah, it's very slow. Polars. I've never heard of polars before. Dabba dee dabba die, dabba dee dabba die, dabba dee dabba die, dabba dee dabba die. Out of coffee. Blue nominee number die, dabba dee dabba die, dabba dee dabba die, dabba dee dabba die. Dabba dee dabba die, dabba dee dabba die. I'm blue, dabba dee dabba die. Alright, so let's look at polars versus pandas. High performance alternative built for speed and efficiency. I like that. And she is so blue. That live inside me. I'm blue. Dabba dee dabba die. Dabba dee. I guess the polars. I don't know. I'm only going to use that if this ends up being really slow. That's interesting, though. You're always giving me something new that I didn't know about. Okay, so what's this guy say? And she is so blue. check your function to make sure you're getting the variables I want, and also accounting for stock splits. Will the accounting for stock splits function still work? Or do I need a new method which works for batch? Need a good song. None of these songs are good. Akon. Now the addition adjust for splits function. That's a lot of stuff. Disrespect. Sorry, I'm not always there for my son. And you can sleep at night when I am not there. Oh, it exceeded whatever. In my world, call you my girl. Understand that there's some problems. I'm not too blind to know all the pain you kept inside you, even though you might not show. If I can't apologize for being wrong, then it's just a shame on me. I'll be the reason for your pain. Put the blame on me. Okay, so let's go over how to do this analysis. Comparing current suspected bubble to previous bubbles. The exponential slowdown you're seeing isn't actually exponential. Oh, okay. Giving me a bunch of blah, blah, blah. But all your kids, love and bliss. Right, like a wife and you didn't agree. Okay, so let's say adult reader, once a thief. Understand that there's some problems. I'll be the reason for your pain. And you can put the blame on me. 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 Sorry that it took so long to see. Trying to put it on me. I was on tour with Gwen Stefani. She was dealt, and for the embarrassment that she felt. Oh, switch Google accounts. That's smart, but I only have so many Google accounts. Are you suggesting I make infinite Google accounts? Okay, that is what I'm gonna do, but I'll stick with this for now. No, the blame's on you. Even though the blame's on you. Even though the blame's on you. Now write a new test in tests.py, which tests the new batch methods against the previous method. I'm specifically interested in ensuring that the stock split works correctly. Make a for plot like in test stock split. Went to the club, sitting on dub. Show me some love. Oh, it only limits you by the day? It limits you for the day? Or does it limit you overall? Because I got enough Google accounts to keep up for a day. I don't know. But I haven't had that issue until today. I was using it at work and it told me that today. And then I got it again. But yeah, maybe it's just I've been asking it a lot today. How many tokens am I at? Because I think it's just... yeah, my tokens keep adding up. Alright, compare current suspected bubble to previous bubbles. Determine key factors going into AI evaluations. Is there anything else we want to do? Well, then we want to assess the key factors from first principles. Okay, so what are the previous bubbles? Obviously .com bubble, which is maybe the most interesting because one argument against AI being a bubble is that obviously the trajectory is going up and it's going to take over everything. But there was a .com bubble and still the internet took over everything. So that maybe is the most interesting. We also have the 2021 crypto bubble, which I think is somewhat similar because everyone was assuming NFTs were going to take over everything. The key difference between these two bubbles is the .com bubble, everyone assumed the internet would take over everything, and it did. The 2021 crypto bubble, everyone was assuming NFTs were going to take over everything, and they didn't. Let's put NFTs here, so Revicon mount. In your spot. End up on top. So I don't be by the bar, baby. Oh, refreshes about every day. Well, good. We drunk 'em. I'll just use, I mean, I have two personal accounts and then a work account. So I'll just use my work account at work and filter through my personal accounts when I'm doing this stuff. Bartender, I'm at the bar with her. I like the bartender, oh yeah. bar with her. Banana bum. Gotta save this stuff. Oh, I didn't add that get batch data function. Oh, these are different. So let's just say get batch stock data. I don't want to lose you now. Well, that's the batch method. That's not a for plot. Okay. That's I don't want to lose you now. I don't want a mirror. Oh. Oh. Oops. So it works. Cool. All right, so now that this works, all of the things we had, remember, do you remember? All of the times we had, bring it back, bring it back. Hey, Global. Thanks. Which one's an awesome idea? AI bubble thing or the coding? Old slow method. Do you remember? Do you remember all of the times we shared? Bring it back. Survivorship. Yes, it is free of survivorship bias. Well, it depends what you mean by that. It includes stocks which have been delisted. Is that what you mean? Because yeah, it has it has things which have been delisted. But do you mean something else? That's only kind of survivorship bias that I could think of. What else is surviving? Is there another type of survivorship bias that could be in my stock data? Is there another type of survivor other than... Oh, good. Okay. Yes. Thank goodness it contains stocks which have been delisted. It's a pretty good data set, but it only has fundamental data going to 2022. But previously when I've tried... Oh, there's the guy. I forgot what it is. I think it's a shark, but you say it's not. But it looks like a shark to me. There's Heart Guy. Oh yeah, the previous stuff I've done is all like sports betting stuff, and sports betting is really impossible to get data, um, especially good data and detailed data and stuff without missing data. And again, that girl is a gun, they say. Okay, so this runs. Let's look at. I mean, it's going faster, I guess. In my head that I can't keep out, got me singing like. Shawty's like a melody in my head. Okay, so compare to previous bubbles, determine key factors, assess key factors, and finally make predictions. Is that how do you type it on your computer? How do you know what it's called? Well, thanks, Global. That's the goal, amongst other things. It should look good. Everything should always look good, I say. Make predictions based off the assessments which we can test in the short, medium, and long-term future. Okay, so first off, is there any of the other bubbles we should compare it to? Famous market bubbles since 1900. Roaring 20s bubble. I guess, yeah. Great market. Great Depression. .com bubble. U.S. housing bubble was all sorts of weird stuff I still don't understand. What is it, Xiao? The emojis? You want me to read the emoji documentation? The YouTube emoji documentation? China's stock bubble. Okay, so really the last three I'm going to have to learn a lot more about. So we want to say, okay, so first section. Yeah. Key factors of AI bubble. All capex booms result in market crashes. Is that true? Is that true? All capex booms result in market crashes. I don't know. I can't think of a capex boom. I don't know. It's really hard to understand the market, I think, since the pandemic, at least for me, because you would say, oh, obviously there were some capex booms that followed the pandemic, and then there was a drawdown, but we didn't really have a post-pandemic crash. Everyone thought there was going to be a crash in 2022. I guess that's what I'm kind of worried about, is I really felt like in 2022 there was going to be a big crash, and it never materialized. And I've been feeling like my whole life, since I was a teenager, that there is going to be a crash, and we haven't had really a big crash. I was born in 1997, so 2008 happened when I was 11. That was, pretty formative. So I'm paranoid of crashes. And I've always felt like we're just heading for a crash. Anyway, so yeah, 2020 boom. There wasn't, so compare, we'll say Xiao says all capex booms and market crashes. But how big? Does this mean every capex boom is a bubble? I don't think so. So then what is the difference between a capex boom and a bubble? So I let her lit the rapper. Okay, some stupid shit. Shawty wanna models in the club. Difference between a capex boom and a bubble lies primarily in where the money is going. Right. Yeah. One is a good. So I guess it's a bubble if the money's just not going anywhere. It's a good bad capex boom is a bubble. Good capex boom is, I don't know what to call it. Also there's so many things going on. We could say, oh, this is a capex boom, so therefore AI is a bubble. But then there's stuff like OpenAI signed that contract to for RAM, and now OpenAI is gonna get. It's like there's 3 suppliers of RAM, and OpenAI bought up all of the RAM. Um, but they also, it's like they bought up the RAM at like some preliminary stage before it's been processed and it's ready to use for a computer. And so they're buying up all this RAM that's useless to them, but then they're going to corner the RAM market. How the hell do I take that into account? If it is a bubble, but there's an AI company that has a corner on the RAM market, seems like they're going to be resilient to that bubble. So how do we assess that? And then the other thing is the national interest. What do you call that? National interest? It's in the national interest to, I guess, sovereign players, countries. So it's like even I saw something where Sam Altman has a plan to get the U.S. government to bail him out. How the hell do you factor that in? Were there any was there anything like that in the .com bubble? What were the key factors going into the .com bubble? When I think of the .com bubble, I think of basically everybody was starting a website to do everything. Pets.com, Amazon to sell books. When I think of a bubble, I think of really there's some like frantic, you have to buy in, you have to buy in, you have to do something, you have to start something. What the hell is that guy? An angry guy biting his, maybe a nervous guy, I think actually. But they made him red like he's angry. Aggressive monetary policy. That's what I think characterizes a bubble. Fundamental shift in investor psychology. So my intuition tells me that a bubble is characterized by a fundamental shift in investor psychology. No, not psychology. Like investor opinions, investor assessments, and in the zeitgeist, really. In the zeitgeist, which is not in accordance with reality. Need more songs. A good song. Someone give me a good song. There's 4 viewers. One of you guys has to have a good song. I want some dance music, rap, something cool, something inspiring, something to get me going, something with a upbeat tempo. All right. This was the key change in investor psychology. This is before my time, and when I got interested in the market, this was already there. Anticipating a data explosion that was years away. Okay, so key factors. Why isn't heading 1 like the first option? So key factors in .com bubble. So first interesting thing here is massive investment in fiber optics and wireless networks. Was too early for the applications. But why? Why was it too early for the applications? Is it because it takes people time to adopt? Palco Gilberto Gil, is that your song suggestion? I just want it all. Put my hands in the air now. Palco Gilberto Gil. Yeah, so why was this too early for applications? But why? Oh, there's poop. I don't know, this is really chill. It picked up right as I said that. Federal Reserve cut interest rates to inject liquidity. I mean, I don't know. This seems like it's just an event along the way. 1998 Asian financial crisis. So let's add a section for things to look up. Asian financial crisis. It seems like this led to the dot-com bubble. That's it. Taxpayer Relief Act. This law lowered the top marginal capital gains tax from 28% to 20%. This made speculative stock trading significantly more profitable, further incentivizing risks. Venture capital. Venture capitalists abandon traditional due diligence or get big fast mentality. That you can spot in sentiment. Psychological factors in the new economy. The bubble is sustained by collective beef. The roles have been permanently rewritten. Irrational exuberance. Investors began ignoring price to earnings ratios. Well, that's what everyone always says about NVIDIA. Mid 40s to low 50s. It's just that infrastructure is an investment. It's always a huge expense. The returns can never really outpace the cost of huge infrastructure projects in the long term. Well, that seems to be the nature of big infrastructure projects. You're making a huge investment, therefore, it costs so much money. I mean, yeah, you're just probably, if you're going to invest some giant amount of money, my intuition is that it's going to take a while to get a return. But so then the question is, that's a good point. So, but why? So then we're going to say, the nature of giant infrastructure investments. Think countries. Like those countries make, say, in some alternative power or something like that, is that they often take decades to pay off. Did the companies in the dot-com bubble make... I gotta say, I'm not sure if this thing's that much faster. It's been going for like half an hour. Did the companies in the dot-com bubble make this assumption? Were they expecting their investments to take a long time to pay off? Now that's interesting because in AI they're assuming this is going to pay off immediately. It's basically throw money. It's just a fundamentally different thing because the dot-com bubble, you're saying throw money at stuff, and then you need internet adoption basically. AI adoption is really easy. You can throw it on any phone, any computer, anything. The whole investment is training the model, and they're throwing hordes of money at it to get the best model. So, I mean, it seems like it seems like that's only going to have a really long time horizon. If the big key here, I think, what it all comes down to is the models have gotten better, and everyone's making the assumption that if you throw more compute at it, the model will get exponentially better. You keep throwing compute at it, at some point, the ability to talk to an AI pops out. Well, if you throw even more money at it, even more compute, then eventually some better abilities, superhuman capabilities will pop out. But then the question is, okay, well, it can develop pseudo-human intelligence or seem like a human or whatever, something you can talk to. That's really good at doing research and stuff, but all it's doing, it's trained on human stuff, and it's referencing human stuff. So it makes sense it would become human. I'm dubious as to if it can become superhuman. But their earnings are all because of other companies in the AI space. Yeah, so that famous circular plot they show. OpenAI uh, gave money to Microsoft, gave money to Anthropic, gave money to OpenAI. Or whatever. They're all circular. So that is a key aspect. I think they're up to some financial shenanigans, and it's always been my intuition the since really ChatGPT had the big breakthrough in I think it was the beginning of 2023. The AI guys, they get out, the big CEOs, they say, hey, this could be really dangerous. We need to monitor this. And I always think, they're just saying that because that makes their company seem like it has the best, most advanced technology. Is it using a good amount of your CPU and memory capacity? Let's see. I always forget, what's it called on Mac? It's not Task Manager. I had a Windows for most of my life. Oh, Task Manager for Mac. Right, Activity Monitor. Activity Monitor. No? Memory is good. Oh, there's not much memory pressure, but we're getting up there in memory. We have 6 gigs of RAM left. CPU, we're fine. Energy, who cares? It's plugged in. Yeah, so we're getting up there in RAM, but we still have some left. Some left for now before OpenAI buys it up. Okay, so the key assumption in AI companies so if I'm assuming they're undervalued, the key assumption, yeah, CPU usage was low. It was like well below half. Idle 77%. OBS is my streaming software. Is using it's using almost as much as Python and Dolt combined. So I think I'm good. The key assumption in AI companies being undervalued is the following. As more compute was thrown at models, new capabilities emerged, like being able to converse, like being able to converse like a human. This took AI from being a computer science thing to something in the zeitgeist. The assumption is that as more compute is thrown at the models, new abilities will emerge and we will get, what do they call it? Superhuman AI? The singularity. What is under so then the key assumption is this: y give, steal, and straw mans for this argument. Oh, nice. Okay, that's good to know. You want your CPU usage. How do you know this stuff? Is it just from doing it, or did you, like, do you have a computer science background or something? Computer engineering? Or do you just know a lot about it? Or is it just from training models and you get used to, or yeah, is it just from writing code and somehow you learned that? How do you know that? You want your CPU usage to be high and RAM to be low. I'm gonna write that down. I think because his RAM fills up, it's kind. The thing is, it's I think it's holding all the data. Obviously, it's holding all the data on disk. Yeah, but how do you figure that out? Like, what, when your CPU usage is high and RAM is low, things happen faster, and RAM's high. I don't know. I guess that is how you figured it out. Duh. Okay, let's read about it. The argument is central to the scaling hypothesis. It suggests that intelligence is primarily a function of compute and that qualitative leaps in capability are the inevitable byproduct of quantitative increases in scale. That I'm really dubious of. I mean, because I've always thought this, that you scale up compute, okay, but really at some point you need to make it efficient because, like, our brains are so condensed that everything's moving way fast. Um, Scale up compute to a gajillion GPUs. Well, yeah, but then it's still, it's not close. It can't talk. The speed at which the signals travel is going to be way slower. Anything that's not overflowing is fine. Yeah, I get so lost on computer stuff. I always wish I'd learned this when I was a kid. I should have gotten into computers when I was a kid. Okay, so let's go through Steelman for the scaling hypothesis. The bitter lesson of computer science. Of course, AI winters, blah, blah, blah. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Humans came up with all the designs for network models. Okay, so that's bullshit. Predictable scaling, unpredictable emergence. Well, the decrease in loss, mathematical, and there's like endless statistical tricks, convolutional stuff. What are they talking about? That's all humans. You throw compute at clever ideas. If you just throw compute, nothing happens. You need clever ideas. Predictable scaling, unpredictable emergence. Well, the decrease in loss follows a very predictable, smooth curve as compute increases. The capabilities that result from that low error are nonlinear. The capability. So as you Yeah, okay. If you're at the tail end of the curve, you barely decrease loss, but you exponentially decrease capabilities. We have empirical methods, evidence that at certain thresholds of scale, models flip from being unable to perform a task to performing it proficiently. Yeah. We have no mathematical reason to believe we have reached a final flip. Okay. Hardware, software, coevolution. The assumption isn't just about more chips, it's about the compute algorithm flywheel. More compute allows for more experiments, which leads to better architectures, which then use compute more efficiently. Superhuman AI isn't just a bigger GPT-4, it's the new architecture that can only be discovered and trained. So I really need to understand the new chips. Blackwell chips, whatever the fuck those are. So Blackwell, I think that's what it's called. It's the new chip from NVIDIA. Yeah. Blackwell chip. Hardware, software, coevolution. The assumption isn't just about more chips, it's about the compute algorithm. Oh, yeah. Ceiling of human. Okay, so ceiling of human knowledge. Humans are a data point of intelligence created by biological evolution under strict energy constraints. Silicon has no such constraints. If we can reach human level reasoning using current skill, it is statistically improbable. Okay, well, that's stupid. Okay, so number one, stupid bullshit. Number two, predictable scaling. That's a good argument. But it's also not, there's no. It's kind of like hand wavy. It's a good argument, but it doesn't make any. All it says is, well, there's no reason to think we're at the end. All right. That's what everyone says at the end. But it's a good argument. Number three, it's a good argument. I don't know enough to assess it. Number four, stupid. Strawman. The magic box fallacy. If you just plug enough NVIDIA H100s into a giant... Here we go, H100. Wiki Socion Illy Composite. What the hell? Alright. Okay, let me finish reading through this. Okay, magic box fallacy. If you just plug enough NVIDIA H100s into a giant warehouse and let them run hot enough, a digital god will spontaneously manifest inside the circuitry. That's the problem with Steel and Strawman. The Steel Man seemed stupid. This also seems stupid. You're ignoring the obvious arguments from the Steel Man. It treats compute like a magical ingredient where more power automatically equals more wisdom without regard for data quality. I kind of intuitively agree with that. The data gluttony argument. Scaling assumes that the model can keep learning forever, ignoring the fact that we have already eaten the entire... Oh, that's interesting. I think that's stupid. Okay, I do think synthetic data will cause problems. I've always thought... I'm so dubious of synthetic data. It's so stupid. Throwing 100 billion... you can't make synthetic data unless, like in physics, you can make synthetic data if you understand like an instrument and then everything that's happening. If you don't understand everything that's happening, your synthetic data is bullshit. And so, you don't need AI to make any synthetic data that can only be created with AI, I think, is bullshit. Okay, this makes a good point. It's against synthetic data, but that's stupid. Scaling Scaling isn't about getting more data, it's about having more compute with the same data. If you have the entire corpus of human knowledge with, you know, not much compute, then you can't do anything. You can't learn from it. So that's stupid. Stupid. Okay, number one, good. Number two, stupid. The stochastic parrot scaling. A parrot that can repeat 10,000 words is more impressive than a parrot that can repeat 10 words, but it is still just a parrot. The argument claims that because a model is better at predicting the next word, it is thinking. In reality, we're just building a bigger... No, I don't agree with that. I think there's some understanding in there, and it's making connections. It's not just predicting. I assume it's not just predicting the next word. I think there's, deeper stuff. Ignoring the wall of diminishing returns. It assumes the linear relationship between money spent and intelligence gained. In every other field of engineering, you eventually hit a wall where doubling the input. Yeah, S-curve. It's an S-curve. The strawman version assumes that the AI wall doesn't exist. Well, I mean, this is a nothing burger. I mean, we're on an S-curve. The question is what part of the S-curve. And this says you can't ignore that we're on an S-curve. Yeah, all right. All right, so number 3, not convincing. Number 4, not convincing. Number 2, stupid. Number 1, good point. Number 1 here, dumb. Number 2, good point. Number 3, I don't know enough. Number 4, stupid. Okay, here's what I think. Now generate new steal and straw man arguments which are better. For the steal man, 1 is stupid, 2 is a good point, 3, I don't know enough, 4 is stupid. For the straw man, 1 is a good point, 1 is a good point, but ignores obvious arguments from the other side. 2 is dumb except for the synthetic data point, which is good. 3 is dumb, and 4 is also dumb. Okay, what shall say? All CapEx booms have a great idea. That's the reason infrastructure gets built out. I don't think all CapEx booms have come from a great idea. You don't think they could be naive? Was there a CapEx boom in depression crash? So the depression crash, I guess, yeah, you could say industries expanding technology. But when I think of the 1929 crash, I think of people being stupid. But to be honest, I don't know enough about it to say that. Okay, we're going to get better arguments. Now, whoa, really? No, I'm not using polars. I skipped it, but I shouldn't anymore. Five times faster. Oh, CPU, yeah. Wow, so CPU increases speed. If I can use all CPU, we're increasing speed. All right, let's look up that thing. I hope this is interesting and not inappropriate. Wiki Socion. Illy composite. ILIs. Intuitive logical intro to ILI. Triangle, black square, INTP, TP, critic, observer, or archetype. Honor de Balzac. What does that mean? Balzac. Isn't that a famous person? Honor. Oh, a French playwright. This is a thing. Introverted intuition and ILIs. What is ILI? Intuitive logical introtim. What's an introtim? Socionic. Attitude of dominant element of a sociotype. Oh, introvert extrovert stuff. You're interested in philosophy and personality stuff. I like this too. Introvert extrovert stuff's interesting, and I'm always interested. I'm a twin. I'm an introvert. My twin's an extrovert, so this is always interesting to me. I'll read that, but not on the stream. Other people probably aren't interested. I'll let you know. Check back in whenever you tune in again. I'll let you know what I think about it. Now we're going to get better arguments. The latent logic extraction, refining emergence. Scaling is not about memorizing more facts. It is about compression as a proxy for understanding. Yes. As you throw more compute at a model, the most efficient way for the model to minimize its errors is to stop memorizing individual patterns. Yeah, exactly. Like, I saw who's that guy? Max Tegmark, I think his name is. He's a physics machine learning guy, and they showed how loss decreased, and then it found the kinetic energy equation. Yeah, stuff like that. So it's finding the kinetic energy equation just from data, and that took us, I don't know, at least 1,000 years of science to figure that out. Thousands of years, over a millennium, to get to. Wait, did it? When did the kinetic energy? When was kinetic energy? You going to bed? Nighty night. See you tomorrow. Come on, buddy. Buddy, come here. Buddy. Well, maybe he's gonna follow you around for a bit. 1849. Oh, dates back to Aristotle. Okay, maybe kinetic energy isn't that profound. The latent logic extraction. Scaling is not about memory. Okay, I agree with this. That generate the data. We observe phase changes because there is a specific threshold where understanding the rule becomes computationally cheaper. Yeah, that's true. Okay, one I agree with. Inference time scaling. The argument is just about scaling the training. It's about scaling the inference by using compute to let the model search through millions of potential reasoning paths. Yes. Okay, I agree with that. A model scaled for massive inference time search can explore a thought space. Trillions of times, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Cross-domain transfer. Scaling compute allows the transition from unimodal to massive multimodal training. Okay, when you scale across. I saw an advertisement at my work today. It said, we want you to, I don't know, do multimodal training. They are offering some prize. When you scale, is from some AI company. When you scale compute across all human generated data simultaneously. Yeah. Yeah. Well, fluid dynamics and high frequency trading data. Pretty sure that's been known for a while. The most pointed, technically nuanced critique. The entropy trap. Scaling requires a linear increase in high quality data. Does it? Why is that the case? That's, I think scaling only requires an increase in high quality data if you've squeezed all the juice out of the data you have. Since we've exhausted the human internet, the plan is to use AI. That is really stupid. Use AI to generate data for the next generation of AI. That is really stupid. Because AI models. Okay. Well, the straw man's saying you're using AI to create the next generation of AI. The steel man is saying, oh, multimodal data. So, which is correct for the future? Option 1, which says future AIs will train on data from. Oh, buddy wants in. Come, buddy. Don't worry, I haven't abandoned you. Arr. Future AIs will train on data on synthetic data. What is that? A cup of water produced by AIs. Future. Well, obviously they're going to train on multimodal data. So that's obviously the case. Then the question becomes, what will multimodal training produce? Because obviously you train it on language, you're going to get a language model. That's useful. You train it on video, it could predict what's going to happen in the real world. Why is that useful? It knows if you push a box, the box will go that way. Is there anything you can do with that? Is there anything you can do with models trained on multimodal data? I guess that it seems like that would be making businesses more efficient. You could, but then that's specialized. So maybe companies could contract AI to make a specialized brain for them or something. Okay, so the architecture scaling. A fundamental component of intelligence, causal grounding. What the hell is that? Causal grounding refers to a deep metaphysical relationship where one set of facts fully determined or explains the existence and nature of another. I like that. Often using because or in virtue of, but distinct from standard cause and effect by being atemporal. That's like words. Some words are only defined contextually. Other words are defined just by what the word is. What's that called? I forget. The computation versus complexity gap. Oh, you can build a taller and taller ladder using more compute, and you will indeed get higher than anyone else, but a ladder will never become a rocket. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that I think throw more compute at it and magic will pop out. Ooh, that seems like a dangerous assumption. Critique argues that scaling compute increases knowledge but not robustness. Model, yeah. I doubt that. I think scaling up compute will make it good at novel problems. Is this page in English? What is Wikisocion? Oh, it's GitHub. It's a GitHub site. Socionic. However, for unknown reason, the website is down in August 2021. What is Socionics? The Socionics community. A whole bunch of emojis. Are those Socionics emojis? Theory of personality and information processing. Similar to MBTI, but distinct that classifies. Oh. Interesting. Well, of course, I've always been fascinated by the Myers-Briggs stuff. But then people say that's not real. But then every time I think about it, or every time, you know what's funny is one time I looked up the most common Myers-Briggs personality type. I forgot what it was, but it was really funny. ISFJ. Yeah, so the most common type is you're introverted, you're sensing, feeling, and judging. That's like all of the worst traits. Or not introverted, you could say. I guess any of them you could say are good or bad, but to me, because it's sensing. What are the Myers-Briggs categories? The 4 axes. 4 pairs of opposite preferences. Extroversion or introversion. Sensing or intuition. Intuition is what makes everything. All human stuff is from intuition. What comes from sensing, right? You probably have something to say about that. Every time I have a strong opinion, Xiao's probably gonna say, "Oh, well, you're probably sensing." Thinking or feeling. Obviously, you want to think and not feel. And judging or perceiving. Maybe this is just my bias, but it seems way better to perceive than to judge. So the most common type is your sensing, feeling, and perceiving. Anyway, I think that's so funny. That's the most common personality type. Well, oh yeah. Why is there no causal grounding in AI models? ISFP, were you right? ISFJ. is most common. ISFP, at least you're perceiving. But sensing, feeling, and judging is just chaos. Wait, what is it again? Sensing versus intuition. Oh, I take that back. I think I don't know, I'm intuition and sensing. That's the problem, is you could be any of them. I have great intuition, um, like with certain things, and other things I like logic my way out of my intuition and totally screw myself. And I think when, like, if I'm an AI model, I instill a heavy punishment on the training algorithm when my intuition's wrong. I hate when my intuition's wrong. Those can cause confusion. Information elements. Is that in what? Socionics is information elements. Oh, or are you talking about causal grounding? Oh yeah, that is socionics. The fundamental job of an LLM is loss minimization. Current AI is built on the scaling hypothesis. The four reasons why this architecture is currently used cannot ground itself in causality. The training objective, the fundamental job. Oh, it's that guy again. Um, yeah, but anyway, this is just so funny to me that the most common personality type is you're introverted, so spend too much time by yourself, not, and then you're sensing, feeling, and judging. That's like the worst thing you could be, is introverted, sensing, feeling, and judging. It sounds like a nightmare. I'm introverted, sensing, feeling, and judging. I think that's hell. You've gone to hell. Training objective. When a model is trained, it is rewarded for guessing the next word correctly. To do this, it builds a massive multi-dimensional map of how words relate to each other. I need to go make some more decaf really quick. Ugh. The two of us. Okay, I'm heating up my water. Um. Okay, so the problem, statistical likelihood is not the same as causal necessity. Yeah. The words rooster crows and sunrises appears. Yeah, but it doesn't understand. It's not saying. Yeah. It's correlating, not learning. It's like that's what I always say about certain people at my work. I say they talk like an AI. They just learn words that go together and say bullshit. And that, Shao, is what I hate about social climbers. That's, to me, is the mark of a social climber. The Plato's cave problem. Causality is learned through intervention, poking the world and seeing what happens. Humans learn causality because we're embodied. I mean, yeah, we all know causality. You learn things because of causality. That's not deep. You intuit what's actually going on. That's deep. Yeah. Isn't this one and two are the same things? You have description but not grounding because the AI. Judea Pearl's ladder of causation. Judea Pearl, the leader, The pioneer of causal inference. Who is that? Some philosopher. Jude. And also, isn't Judea an ancient state? He's named after Judea. Judea Pearl is an Israeli-American computer scientist and philosopher. Those are my favorite types of people. Best known for championing the probabilistic approach to AI. The development of Bayesian networks. Okay. So Judea Pearl's ladder of causation. Judea Pearl describes 3 levels of intelligence. Association seen. What does a symptom tell me about a disease? Okay, so that's just, association. What does a symptom tell me about a disease? What if I take this aspirin? Will my headache go away? But all intervention is you've made a bunch of associations and then you understand your associations. Doesn't nobody I thought they did that with current AIs. I thought current AIs were looking inside themselves to understand the associations. You make a gajillion associations, lots of which you just learn about, not from your experience. And that, that leads to that intervention level intelligence. And counterfactuals, was it the aspirin that stopped my headache, or would it have gone away anyway? I don't know. Intervention and counterfactuals seem like the same thing. Current AI architectures are mathematically confined to level 1. They are curve-fitting engines. They look at a massive scatter plot of human. Is that true? Doesn't simulate the logic. Why can't you make an AI to simulate the logic then? Can't you categorize things into logical patterns? Also, let's go back to this. So there's association. I'm thinking about it as if you make slow digestion. I don't even know how would you characterize slow digestion? Like you eat and then it takes you a long time to poop? And how do you, tell me, how do you define slow digestion? How do you know if it's slow, fast, or normal speed? Okay, my water's hot. I'm gonna go mix in my instant decaf. Also, I should check where my RAM's at. Are we filling up the RAM? Barely. We went from 29.5 to 29.8. That's not too bad. My intuition's right about what? What was that? Was that a joke? Do you have slow digestion? Okay, so association. I'm thinking that intervention is just if you make a million associations, you get good at intervention. But you have to internalize it. Right. You can't just spit. It's like politicians do association. That's what LLM's a politician right now. Most politicians just do association. Intervention is if you're thinking, you're using your brain to think, and I don't know what's going on when I'm thinking. Oh, so it was a joke. It was a trick question. Really, though, I think the speed of my digestion depends on how hydrated I am. I think because if I drink a bunch of water, I gotta go poop. LLMs learn the most probable connection between. Okay, so if I make a ton of associations, okay, a stupid politician makes a ton of associations and spews out word salads. Well, then I don't get it. You're saying, do you have slow digestion? But slow digestion, nobody knows how to define. How is that a question? How is it a serious question? I don't know. I think you're still joking. How is it a serious question if slow digestion can't be defined? Do you have this undefinable thing? I think I'm overthinking it. A stupid politician makes a ton of associations and spews out word salads, which they think sounds good. A smarter person thinks about those associations and draws connections, which allows them to arrive at better conclusions. Why can't AI do the latter? It seems like a very obvious thing to try for the computer scientists. Books by Judea Pearl. You've hit on the exact frontier of AI research. Computer scientists are actually obsessed with it. Yeah, this makes sense. Path of least resistance, of course. Yeah, I've heard that. Intuition and reasoning. When you prompt GPT-4, it doesn't think before it speaks. The obvious thing computer scientists are trying. You asked why they don't know. They're currently trying this with a technique called chain of thought and inference scaling. Instead of the AI just blurting out an answer, researchers are forcing it to search. Yeah, there's the key. Is that it's extremely expensive, and I think something about our brains. Oh, sorry. I got confused by the whole thing, but I think it's just how hydrated you are. Slow digestion is if you're dehydrated, and if you eat bad food. Think anytime you eat healthy, you have to poop. This probably has to do with how much fiber you eat. I eat a lot of oats. I think oats are the superfood of the world. If I could eat only one food for the rest of my life, it would be oats. Or maybe good beef. I can't afford good beef. That's why I have this YouTube channel. My dream is to someday afford good beef. Because I think beef is good for you, but then if you buy it from crap, if you get beef from crap cows, it's bad for you. I do like milk, though, because it's the cheapest food that has fat, carbs, and protein. Uh, yeah, so I think this becomes incredibly expensive, and that's the reason it's so expensive for AI is they don't have whatever is going on in our brains. They're missing it in a big way because the brain is so much more compact than a gajillion GPUs. And this is IQ. Smart people have mental models. Smart people think about things. IQ is like your capacity of mental models. This level layer. Oh, cool. So world models, but there's no way to scale. Yeah. Um. You two, what? Oats are the superfood of the world. I one time I got too stressed out because of my ex girlfriend, and then I got all sorts of stomach problems, and I wasn't eating healthy, and it all culminated one day. I pounded a bunch of cheese and beer, cheese and beer, and then my stomach was destroyed, and I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't have a sip of coffee. I couldn't eat anything without my stomach getting upset, and that carried on for months. And the only thing that cured it was I spent like 2 weeks where I only ate oats and vegetables. And it totally went away. So ever since then, I think oats are the superfood of the world. Anyway, I think that's it for now. This thing is not efficient. I'll let it run overnight. Uh, Tune into my stream in the morning and you'll see if this ran or if I'm going to have to find a better way to do this. I'm pretty interested in this AI bubble thing, so I'm going to keep working on this. And once I get a good thesis with some things that I can test, I'll make a video about it. Um, and I'm also going to look into Bitcoin. There's some interesting things with Bitcoin, and I think my assumptions might be wrong. Um, and the real thing that I'm worried about is that, let's open recent, the Bitcoin analysis. What I'm really worried about is if you look at this trend, it looks linear, but I think it might be something. I assume it's logarithmic, but I think it might be something like this. And this data point is below the curve and an outlier because of the FTX thing. And if that's the case, then we could expect it to bounce off of like 2. But it's at like 88,000 right now, I think. So it's already fallen halfway down to the 2021 all-time high. So yeah, I'm just kind of worried about this assumption. So I'm gonna look more into it in the future and see what I think about it. Schizoid-like personality traits. I don't know, what are those? I've always thought that you know how they say people who are schizophrenic, they there's like some percentage of the population who has a disposition for schizophrenia, and then it gets triggered by something. I've always thought that could be me, and it just never got triggered. But I don't know. I'm definitely scatterbrained. I also don't believe in any labels. I've also thought, like mental health conditions. I could say that I have any of them at any time at different times in my life. You could say, oh, this guy exhibits the traits of being bipolar, of ADHD, of all this stuff. I just think that's all bullshit. I group it all anxiety, depression, bipolar, uh, mania, all that stuff. I group it into what I call big brain disorder. I have big brain disorder because also other smart people that I know all have, so many of them are on like psychiatric meds and crap. Um, and I think those are just labels, and I don't know. I don't trust psychiatrists, and I love psychology, but I don't trust psychiatrists. Also, why would you ever trust another? I mean, you're in your own brain. Why would you ever trust another person with your own brain? I went to my ex girlfriend and I went to couples therapy or whatever, and that's different. I know, but therapists, I have the same opinion of. Therapists are even worse because they're morons. Every therapist I've ever met is a moron. Social detachment. No, I mean, I'm kind of solitary. I definitely prefer solitary activities. Social detachment. I have a strong desire for close relationships. Um, I cherish my relationships. Limited emotional expression. I have that, but I think that's from like nurture rather than nature. Indifference to approval, disapproval. I'm certainly completely unaffected by praise or criticism. Um, I like praise, but I also am always wary of praise. Also, people give fake praise. I love praise. I love real praise. Um, and I'm sensitive to real criticism, but lots of it's fake. Anhedonia. Little enjoyment from most activities. I get that when I'm in a negative emotion state, but when I'm in a positive emotion state, I get immense enjoyment. Lack of interest in sex, that's definitely not true. Inner fantasy life, I definitely have a elaborate inner world. May seem aloof. People always say that I seem aloof. They also say I seem self-absorbed. Doesn't seek out social interaction. Sometimes you could say that about me, and I definitely am uncomfortable often. May have minimal speech and brief responses. I don't know about that. You know who this sounds like is Paul Dirac, the physicist, was definitely this. He said that his goal in life was to say as few words as possible. Have you ever heard that story about Calvin Coolidge, which I think is a tall tale, but supposedly a reporter said to him at a White House dinner, "I have a bet that I can't get you to say 3 words," and he just said, "You lose." Maybe Calvin Coolidge was schizoid. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this sounds like every other sort of schizoid personality. I mean, every other psychology thing. Yep, it applies to me in a certain view. I don't know. The only thing that doesn't apply to me, I think, is being an extrovert. Yeah, even then, I don't know if that's true. Sometimes I seem like an extrovert. I resist labels. That's all I can say confidently. Anyway, yeah, so I'm uh, gonna work more on this stuff tomorrow. I hope it runs overnight and completes. um, if this works, then I'm gonna train the data and then do this again for my other 2 strategies and see how which model performs best. Gonna do more Bitcoin research. Gonna do more research on the AI bubble. So That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your night. Adios.